friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Sovereign Soul. I am very, very stoked for today. We are back, part two, with one of my favorite people in the world, quickly becoming like top 10 here, girl. Like, literally, you're like moving up this ladder. Like, the more that you and I get to know each other, I'm like, move aside, children. I found my favorite person. Um, but when you and I connected for our first episode that aired on the 30th of November, it's actually episode 8. We got off and we were like, man, we're freaking disappointed. Like, we didn't even really there's just so much more that we wanted to get into. And so we quickly realized we needed a part two. And so here we are, friends. It is part two with a beautiful soul. And if you've not, we're going to pick up where we left off, but it's not necessary to go watch the episode on November 30th for you to get right into the know. I'm going to have you introduce yourself again, just for those that did not catch that episode. Introduce yourself to us again. Remind us, because we might need a reminder of who you are. Remind us of who you are, and then I want to get right into it.
I think that I need a reminder some days of who I am. I think that we all kind of move through that energy sometimes. And if you
Yeah.
did listen to that episode, and I'm going to say something now, and you might be like, she never told us that. I'm like, I know. Isn't it amazing how multidimensional we are? It's so much fun in the space
So,
of all of it. So my name is Colleen, and I technically have a last name, so it's Lindberg. And shadow alchemist. I do a lot of shadow-based work. My jam is really helping people align in their power and truth and really own that space to go out and make the impact in the world that they're meant to make. And I do it a lot through the spiritual aspects of energetic movement and maneuvering energy and tapping into the field and, all that juicy stuff that we talk about in the space of that evolution. And yeah, that's kind of what I feel called to share today.
yeah, and it is what I felt called as well. When we were chatting, everyone that's been on the show thus far and those listening, they know I don't do framework. We don't do like scripts. We don't even really, I give the energy wherever the direction, wherever it needs to go. And that's kind of what I said to you. But today, as we were connecting prior, I was like, you know what? This is like, feels like a really big conversation. Make enough time for me today because I want to give it the time that it needs, the depth that it needs. We are nearing the end of Snake Year 2025. And I am going to be, in the next few weeks, coming back with the audience to give a end of year recap, to really look at some things that Spirit wants to share and dive deeper into, to purge, to heal, all the things. But prior to doing that, I felt like you and I needed to have this conversation because of where your expertise lies, because of everything, that this year has done for us. I'm going to say for us, not to us, even though my
Yeah.
ego's like,
Yes.
it's what it did for us. But there was a lot. There was so much that many people we're moving through when it comes to the shadow aspect for the purpose of alchemizing, right? So before we end this year, they need a come into Colleen moment so that they can do that work. And really, when you're reflecting on it, before you go into the journal or the journaling for next year, the vision board creation for next year, like before you go do all that stuff, like we need to take a minute and really reflect. We really need to take a minute and dive in, tune in, activate the inside, and really look at what fully needs to be let go of, what needs to be re-examined, reevaluated, and then we go into creating this next, what is it, fire horse year?
Yeah, like, well, depending on who you want to speak to about it, all I know is that the pathway is being carved through into the light, into the year of illumination in 2027. So
Yeah.
wherever you are in the pathway right now, yeah, that's what I just want to say. Yeah,
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 it's big. It's
yeah.
big. It's big. So let's kind of, if there's really never ever a beginning. There's no beginning, there's no end. But let's just get into it. I mean, 2025 was definitely a year, I know through my client work, where we've done a lot of looking at what versions of ourselves we just have outgrown. I know through our private conversations, we've dove into a lot of, aspects of energy that I've seen, that I've not seen, that I've worked through. And I know that you've been supporting a lot of others doing the same thing. Um, Give me the common thread, the common thing that you've been noticing the most, though.
Well, and I know that we had discussed going into shadow work, so I'll lead us through that portal way here. But the number one thing coming up right now, and that is super recognized in the collective, and no matter whether you're a spiritual based coach, mentor, guide like we do in the world, or you are, in an aspect space of like this discovery of self almost, is like we're in an identity shift right now. And not in a way of like new identity, in a way of remembering who the fuck we are identity.
Yeah.
And we're purging all of the initiations and all of the imprinting and all of the conformity that are keeping us in old identity patterns. And old identity patterns could look like scarcity and lack and self-sabotage and inadequacy and you not feeling enough. And I could go on and on and on about all the fucking layers that we've been working through, and some of us simultaneously in all of them at the same time. It's been fucking great. But we are literally being called through them, and the only way through them is to go through them to get to the other side. And this is the powerful aspect of work that we're actually being asked to right now pay attention to. And if we're not, we're coming up against resistance, and we're seeing that in the field. Did my microphone go all fucked up?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm getting
Okay, good.
feedback on my end, but we're managing, girl. We're just gonna,
Okay.
we're not, nothing's stopping us.
It's like raining today. It's like a casual drizzle here in Costa Rica.
Oh,
So
it
just
is snow.
so yeah, sometimes it like inhibits some feedback from coming in, or it makes its own feedback. So I just wanted to make sure everything was good.
It's welcome.
But that's where we're really moving through, and then through that identity work comes these portals of shadow that we're noticing. Like the leveraging, the people in our field that are holding us back energetically that are being triggered, the disassociation from our actual truth, the layers of the matrix that have been like leaked onto us or poured onto us in certain dimensions. And all of this is relevant in this time space right now. And we're floating around under it, feeling it, drowning in it, floating on top of it some days. I said to voice out to my girlfriend once, I'm like, I'm in the middle of a shit storm, but I'm actually floating on the shit. Like I don't feel like I'm suffocating under it right now, but I'm floating, and I'm not trying to pretend it's anything but what it is.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that disassociation. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, well, like it's in all different compartments, let's just call it. So we are at this landscape of like discovering truths within our energetic field that we may not want to swallow. Like some truths about people in our actual physical world that have been doing shady shit behind the scenes energetically. Truths about like our actual pathway and the things that we thought were true that aren't fucking true in the space of that. There's a crumbling of energy around us that it's almost like we wake up one day and see things through a different like viewpoint and being like, why did I not notice this before? Like, how could I have not figured this out in the space of this evolution? And it's like we're feeling it in the body too. It's showing up like disconnection. It's showing up like, holy shit, why does this feel so fucking heavy in the space of things? And I know you have more questions to ask around this, so please go ahead.
No, I know. No, I know. Like I really like I want people to understand the importance around this. Do you understand what, like, I know you do, but like I really want people to understand the importance of relevance more so around this, because you aren't it's not about burning it all down. I mean, it might be in some cases, but like this is not about like burning it all down and just seeing things as inadequate or seeing things as not good or seeing things as, do you know what I mean? Like this is really about us being able to take it to the next level of remembrance, activating that source light at its next level of frequency. It's about us being able to illuminate, in ways that, we may have been playing small in. I was speaking to you about myself personally and just saying, it was a few years ago that I felt my guides really leading us towards that path of self-mastery. And as I've done my own work around reflecting around this year and years past, like where self-mastery falls into where this next level me is remembering itself, like we're taking it to a level of Christ consciousness, right? Like we really want to start putting certain words, particular words, to some of this work because it's so big, right? But self mastery, it's that journey towards it. And if I wasn't on it, I wouldn't be able to recognize these truths and recognize this identity that is unearthing itself, if that's an appropriate word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whether you're unearthing it through pain,
All the ways.
or you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is, this is cool about me. You know what I mean? And so, like, for those of you that are feeling like I'm using air quotes, quote unquote, struggling, this is just another level of the comfort zone that's being stretched.
Absolutely. And the challenge is that we see it as a certain meaning, right? So for so long, we've associated it with it's not good. This is bad. Oh my God, the money's not coming in. Oh my God, I'm leaving. This relationship isn't connected any longer. Oh my God, that person's leaving the earth plane. Oh my God. And we're in this flare of energetics, not really realizing and recognizing that the only meaning that any of it has is whatever meaning we give to it. And if we can look at our growth opportunities, let's call it, our challenges, the fucked up shit happening in our life, let's just call it what it is, and not look at it from a charged perspective of the fact that we're knee deep in the shadow and the dimensions and we can't pay our bills, or that client isn't doing this, or that lover cheated on me, or whatever the space is that you're moving through in this collective, we can look at it from an honoring eye. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have emotions. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you're on the verge of being released from your house. I get that there's a dynamic happening. But the more you fuel the dynamic of the shadow, the more you're resisting the actual work to move through the shadow to then get to the other side, which could take you 5 minutes, guys. So this is what I want to say, right?
Yeah. Walk us through what that might look like, though. Because I know you've told me, girl, why are you charging this? And I'm like, what do you mean? Did you not hear my voice now? And you're like, you're charging this. And it's like, you know what I mean? This right here is a big, beautiful golden freaking nugget, friends, that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm just kidding. But this is what she does.
Totally does, by the way. Just joking. Yeah.
So grab your journals, grit your pen, and start taking notes. But walk us through what this might look like when you find yourself in that space. What does it look like for Colleen to move through that? What does it look like to not get charged?
Yeah. So let's give a prime example. A lot of people right now are up against financial restrictions, right? Shit's getting tight. And especially for those that are not aligning in the identity that holds wealth, which is a lot of us, because most of us have been conditioned to not play there, right? We've been conditioned to stay conform. We've been conditioned to stay over here in the limitations. Or especially for women, we've been conditioned to make money and driving in the masculine, which isn't actually the framework we can play within now. So all of those infrastructures are being dismantled, and the way we used to be able to gather funds has almost dried up. And we're being asked and called into stepping up into the power that is truly ours from a divine place, from our divine feminine, from this we are abundance. It's not outside of us. So let's just give this example. So say you have a bill that's due in 2 days. Okay? Most of the time, our fucking human is like, holy fuck, how am I going to fucking pay this bullshit? Da, 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 da. The first thing I always say to my clients is dude, 2 days is a lot of fucking time. Okay? And I really want you to realize this. It's an hour and a half is still a lot of time. Everything can change in a moment if you firstly decide it can, and you then back that up energetically. And then when you get the hit, because what will come about is an action that needs to be taken, whether that's you call the bank, whether that's you sending out an offer to someone, whether that's you making a post, whether that's you whatevering in the space of that. And if you can lock those 3 things down, that outcome can shift and change. But most of the time we're resisting it, or we don't believe it, or we're looking for the evidence of it, or we're trying to calculate it, or all the things. But let's just say that this is what's happening in my world. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. Okay, I'm going to be like, fuck, I'm in scarcity. I can feel it. I know the money's around. It's somewhere in the field. It's just not in my connection space right now. What do I do first? I close my eyes, I drop in, and I breathe. So first I've got to stabilize my body, my nervous system, to be able to hold and become safe again. So you can do that through breath work. You can do that through meditation. You can do that by having a fucking nap even too, but we've got to go find a way to shift the state in the body, because if we're peaked here, we're not going to be able to bring in the assets of the true energy that we need to create. So once I can stabilize, right, then I go into, what do I actually want? Okay, I desire $5,000 to pop in by Friday. Okay, great. Actually, I would really prefer 10,000. So like $10,000. Now that's possible for me. So I have an actual pulse point on it. If $10,000 isn't possible for you, this mountain's going to be higher to climb, because now we've got to actually work with the infrastructure of believing that it can land, right? But for me, $10,000 days, I can make that happen. And I've done it before over and over again in the past. So it's not outside of me. So if the number's outside of you, you're going to have to then do another infrastructure on actually believing that it's possible. Whereas you and I don't need to believe it's possible, because we already know we can. So I drop then into that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my abundance portal in my energetic field. So I'm literally going to imagine bringing it down from the crown and feeling abundance in my body. So the feeling of abundance isn't just money. It's a connection to all. It's an ever-flowing movement of energy. It is like a moving through. And I'm going to play in that for as long as I need to, till I believe that I am in it. And then it's like, whew, it's landed. And then I'm going to come out. And then I'm going to hold that frequency as tight as I can. And if I move out of it, I'm going to shift back into it all day long. And I guarantee you that in 2 days from now, that money will be in my pocket, because that is the mechanism. But this is the work. This is the work, Jacqueline. Like, this is the work where we're like, we avoid, because we're like, well, I got other things to do. I got to do this. I got to do things. It's like, you really want to change your life?
Exactly. This is how you do it. This is the work. And often I back that up with my, my prescription. It's like a prescription. If you've got to take that antibiotic, ain't nobody skipping the antibiotic when you got the crud. You've got it every 4 to 6 hours or whatever your prescription is. Like, this right here is a prescription to wealth. Like, what are you willing to do to shift your circumstances internally, to see the evidence pour in externally? Nothing ever, 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 ever changes outside until it changes inside first, right? So y'all need to stop this recording, go back and listen to this again, because she is so on it. The thing I love about you is random notes like, today's a great day to manifest 8K. And I'm like, shit, it's like 2 p.m. Okay, I got this. Challenge accepted. You know what I mean? Like, I love playing in that field with you, because it's just random, and like, it's just like, ooh, let's go, and I challenge people to do that for themselves. Like, go ahead and randomly schedule these things throughout your week, your day, right? Like, and have that alarm go off. Right now we're manifesting this, and see, nothing's going to charge you in a great way or in a way of awareness than something like that pops up on your phone.
Yeah. And that's what scarcity. So that's the logical side, right? Money is a tactile. We can do this with everything. So when doubt shows up in your field, you drop it back into your body. And I would be bringing doubt up. I would be like, where did this doubt come from? Where is it rooted? Like, why am I all of a sudden doubting myself? Oh, yeah, because your ex-husband, 5 years ago, imprinted into you that you'll never make anything of yourself when you left him for da-da-da-da-da-da. And somewhere along the line, your subconscious believed it and started playing that storyline out. And it's like, so this is the actual work. When I say shadow work, we've got multi-layers here. We've got inside shadow work. We've got the outside shadow work of the people we know and circumstances around us. And then we've got the 3D mechanism shadow work, that outward narrative running through the collective, trying to keep all of us small. So we got 3 aspects we work within. I'm sure there's multi others, but like, those are the key ones for the earth plane right now. Yeah.
Yep, 100%, 100%, 100%. And those of us that are on that spiritual journey, there's another set of these that just kind of come in to work the soul's intention to really be who we knew we were coming here to be. Like all of this is already done. This play yard, if you will, that we're on was designed to get us to bump up against some of these things for the purpose of expanding the soul, expanding the divine, right? So it's such an interesting time. When I sit with this year, when I sit with, the relevance around, the ending of something, it's a 9 year, it's a snake year. We're in December, which is the last month of this year. Like,
It's all
nothing makes you,
there.
it's like all there. Exactly. It's like all there. And so if someone is struggling with, the thing that's been coming up through my channeling, through the subscription group that I have, through some of the client stuff that I've been working with, many are feeling, and even my kids, I shared this story actually. I asked my boys, my twins, they're 10, what do you want for Christmas? And one of them was like, I don't know. And I'm like, dude, how do you not know? Like, how does Santa bring you what you want for Christmas if you don't know? But I can't even tell you how many people have come back with like the whole, I don't know, because they're so exhausted or they're so energetically fatigued or the nervous system's so shot. We're afraid to reach for anything to hope for, let alone desire. You know what I mean? Like, are you coming up against that in some of the spaces that you are working in as well?
A few. But then it always comes back down to how are we quieting the mind and ourselves and reconnecting back in and then making decisions to shift and change. So
Yeah.
most of the time this is happening because people aren't honoring boundaries. They're running up the wrong hills, meaning they're trying to make something happen that's not in alignment because of blah, 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 blah. They're over servicing everyone else in their life instead of actually pulling back and doing the things that they are meant to be doing. I have a girlfriend that's in this all the time, and she's getting these aha moments now, which is actually really funny. And she's in my what I call the energetic upgrade, which is my membership, just like yours, in the space of this. And on yesterday's call, she's like, I just had this aha moment, today with one of my NLP coaches that said that I only 40% believe in the life that I actually desire to live, and that this, and this is happening. And I go, dude, I've been telling you that in another way for like months of us being together, but you couldn't hear it in the way I was saying it. You needed another version coming in, which I totally honor the timeline of it all. But if you are exhausted and overwhelmed and you feel like you're in anxiety and all the things, it's because you're resisting the actual pathway, or you're choosing to avoid the things you have to deal with. And therefore, everything is getting heavier in the space of it all because you cannot go through into the next level of expansion, into the light that you're being called into, holding all this back. So you're the
Yeah.
one right now, and I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not sorry.
No,
You're the
no.
one that's creating this because you don't
Absolutely.
want to have the conversation. You're not stepping up. You're shit
Yep.
scared to make the investment. You're blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah, whatever it is in the
Yep.
space of. And it's time that you say yes, even though the evidence isn't there, even though it's going to cause a ripple effect over here, even though your husband may not accept it in the way that you want him to. And you're just trying to like not ruffle feathers. Man,
Yep.
we cannot be living like this anymore.
No,
We can't.
no, no. And I remember sitting in the knowing that it was divorce number two. Same relationship. I shouldn't say it was the same. It was different, but same mask, right? Like same body, like expecting different. And I remember very much what you're saying, sitting there with the awareness that I was not. I was, you know what I mean? Like this was not, I was suffocating. And that I can remember very, very clearly. The out felt so much better than staying in it. I was scared. You know what I mean? I was so disappointed, right? And then I was worrying about my kids and thinking about his feelings. But everything in my bones came back to this is not where we're going to be. Come hell, high water, it doesn't matter what it's going to look like. Like we have to, as you say, pull the trigger and go for it because this can't be life. We ain't living like this. You know what I mean? And not that it was just the knowing that this was not meant for me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like it's not good or bad. It just is. And those relationships serve a purpose in our world. And some days our co-creation together ends, and it's just now in its own box that, he's the father of the kids and that's what he is in the space of everything now. And we get to learn from that. And now he's just in his box over here, and you go play in the box whenever you desire to play in the box, and you're in that space, but it's no longer part of the overall play. He's a side character that might come in act 2, scene 1, and then he's out for the rest of the game. It's just like, that's the landscape, and it's not good or bad. It just is. And the more we just dismantle that, the easier it gets to make decisions and choices to move through.
And some of these partnerships, if we call them that, and being in relation with some of these partnerships, the work that you shook hands on can often last beyond. For me, moving through some of the financial stuff with my business really did come from, you and I said we would do this together. And you know what I mean? So it was like, whoa, I really had to take that all back and really take ownership for what I was deciding for myself, right? Not swaying or wavering in that, And so like sometimes things will come up, and it's about, like you said, dropping in, taking that breath. Hey, I see you. Hey, here we are. Okay, this is cool. Like, this is what's coming through. This is what my body's feeling. All right, I honor it. Thank you for teaching me this or showing me this or letting me remove this. And then really looking at, who am I becoming through it? Who do I know myself to be? Right? And then moving and enacting that, This is a year where, I'm praying that a lot of people took journal notes because it is going to come in helpful. I know for me, I was just like, wow, that was this year. Wow, that was only this year. Wow, that happened too this year. Like, oh shit.
It's a lot. And it's like, and it almost feels like it's fast forwarded, but a lot of the work that we've been asked to be doing, if we haven't been doing it, is showing up. It showed up this year. And if we don't actually do the work this year, it's leaking into next year, and it's going to be even harder for us. So although it's like a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever the timeline is when this episode drops, and whenever you listen to this, it's like, don't get now overwhelmed and now in scarcity because you don't have enough time.
Oh, God, no, that's why this episode is dropping as it is, and prior to really doing the overview, because I want people primed, prepped, and ready. Do you know what I mean? Like, they are, like, this is right here, right now, going to give you a lot of validation and confirmation around, some of the work you have been doing. People that are in our field, they're not new to this. They're not new to this. They're not new to this. They know. And sometimes most times, okay, all the time we need, my guide's correct. All the time we need, I think if leaving 2025, if I could tell anybody one big nugget, go find a partner in crime, a partner in business, a partner in mentorship. Go find your person. Because God works through those people, and we were never, ever, ever, never, ever meant to go it alone. And I can remember really sitting back and going, what happened? Like, where did my posse go? Where did my tribe go? How did I get into this space of being kind of isolated? You know what I mean? And doing that inner work of like, whoa, who did I let in make me feel like I could do that or should do that? Like, why am I not trusting, or whatever it was that was coming up, right? End of 2025, go find your people. Go find your people. Because, I know for me, it's going to make all the difference.
Yeah. I'm just taking on a brand new one-to-one mentor this year. I'm still in numerous masterminds and with people that even do similar work to me, but it's in a different space that I can go and be a student-ish, in the field of that, because it's kind of hard still to be a student when you can tap into all the energy, but some days you're in it, like you're in it. So like for me, I was like, how am I upgrading this? Like I'm going into rooms with billionaires as a mastermind. There's only 10 women in January. And I'm like, that's the kind of rooms I want to play in. Like I am the least qualified in the room, which means I'm in exactly the right room. This is great. This is exactly where I want to be. How can I get into here?
Yeah. Other people are bringing us up. That's what they're meant to do. Right? It's just that not we, but like there are those that will get stuck in a comparison. I used to be that person until I realized that holds me back. Like, let's look at this and go, oh my gosh, you're here to show me that this is possible. Like, let's fucking go, you know? And so like that is huge. Be in spaces that stretch you. Be in spaces that make your knees buckle just a bit, because they're not going to take any bullshit. Like, it's like, come on, Colleen, let's go. Are you coming? And Colleen's all like, hell yeah, let's go.
I'm just going to sit and be like, I'm just going to absorb, you know, like I'm in here to absorb and to like, obviously to be present. And I also know that I wouldn't be positioned in that room if I wasn't also adding value. Right. So it all moves together. So now it's like, how do I show up in my multi-billionaire identity that is obviously meant for me in some way, shape, or form, because I wouldn't be able to get into this room if it wasn't.
Yes.
So now I'm like, let's go fucking play some games, you know, like let's go actually play in the possibility of what is possible. This is the challenge that most of us are playing in, what our reality tells us to, instead of the possibility. And the possibility open doorway says, in order to get through, you need an entrance fee. And that might mean leaving your baggage behind. That might mean cutting that energetic cord. That might mean investing into something. All of us are different in the spaces that we're moving within, and all of those might be relevant for you.
Yeah.
But that's the calling now. That's the space. And yeah, it's going to take courage and it's going to take bold moves. And some days it's going to be like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm investing in this. And that investment might be $500 that stretches the fuck out of you right now. But you know that this is where you need to go.
Yes.
So,
you know, this is a time where it's all about possibility and not probability, because probability is all past and ego, you know, where possibility is spirit, and spirit's, let's go. Anything is possible. There is no limit, right? Like, we want to feel that creative flow moving through us that many throughout this year, the last year, over the last 2-3 years, you know, if you're into the astrology and you're looking at like all of that stuff, like this has really been something that's been diminished, if that makes sense. And a lot of people are recognizing it now, and they're like, oh my God, don't freak, because it doesn't mean you got to go and do something and start all over again. It just means that, like, okay, cool, your awareness of it it's the key, and it'll come right back. Like, it'll bring it right back.
Well, and also too, probability is you giving your power away. So I really want you to feel that, because it's like, I don't want to confirm this, so because I'm not really sure, because I actually still doubt that it's going to happen. So you're wavering, right? So when you lead in possibility, you're like, this is happening. I don't know how it's going to happen, but this is locked down and happening. It moves with you. Like, there's a knowing. I know that this is happening. I know that the crazy amount of money that I desire to have on Friday is dropping in. I don't know how, but I know. I know I'm going to be supported. I know that that's transpiring. I know. Not, it probably might happen, you know?
Yeah. And this is where the partnership goes. You know what I mean? Like, this is where having a buddy, having somebody that's there, that's walking the walk with you, that's mentoring or coaching or guiding through you, this is where that's cool, because words matter. And when you find yourself even in that probability energy, they're going to be able to go, no, this is happening. Like, switch that 2 degrees, switch that one pivot, you know what I mean? And like, step in and own it fully, like fully. Yeah. It's so good. So what are you working in right now, that people can take advantage of?
Oh, I was like dimensions? Not
That's
really
a show.
sure.
That's another
Part
one.
of
That's
me is
part
over
3.
here. Part of me is over here. It's hard to say how much of me is actually in this body right now. Don't really know. You know, like
It's part 3.
Oh my God.
They're not ready for that yet.
I have a plethora of stuff happening right now, which is all cool in its own space, but it's also I'm really feeling and fine-tunements coming in 2026 for me in the space of like narrowing the field a bit more, but creating more potency around some stuff. Like I can feel the dismantling of how some of this is moving through the field. But I got a lot of playing aspects. You know, I've really claimed the month of January as like a wealth portal, money aspect. Like, let's align our stuff so we can hold everything coming into 2026 when it comes to wealth and money. So I have a mini mastermind that I've got that's live in the month of January. I've got a 5-day teaching that I'm landing in the field called Lock It Down, where it's like consistent 5-figure months over and over again. And I'm going to teach in that landscape, like the strategy, but also all the energetics and everything that it takes to hold this and to build a brand that sustains that. And then I've always got stuff going on, like I just come follow me on Instagram, like that's where I play. So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that I found someone that does similar, what do you want to call it? I don't want to say work because it is similar work, but like similar tactics, if that makes sense. Like when something comes in and it feels so good, we just go with it. It's like, what are you working on? Don't know. Like it could be this, it could be that. I'm like,
well,
depends on
today, and then, and then the podcast launches 3 months from now. I'm like, oh yeah, that was old,
the so old.
But you
Right.
can,
Like,
do you
you
want it?
want
Sure, I'll figure out a way to get it to you.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that about us and the way that, I'm sure there's other, business owners that do stuff like this. But for us, it's like, no, I'm getting the hit right now, and this feels so good in my spirit. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. You'll never see this again. Like, I don't know how many times I use that jargon on my sales stuff. Never to be seen again because I can't teach this way again. Like, it's landing and let's go. So I totally am urging people go to her Instagram, follow along, because if you miss a day, you miss a million things.
Sometimes I'm like, where have I been today? It was yesterday. I was like, I haven't even done a story at 4 p.m. It's like, what have I? Oh yeah, I drove up the mountain. I had to go buy a suitcase because if you know anything, if you listen to the other episode, I live in Costa Rica and I live in the heart of the jungle. And there isn't access to stuff here. Okay, I have to drive an hour and a half up the mountain to get to Walmart to consider buying something that you guys have all these conveniences purchasing.
Right.
So literally, I made a trek up the mountain yesterday to go get a suitcase and a hairbrush that fell apart. And here we are.
Gosh, oh my gosh. You
It's my
literally
life.
do have to go back in the day and write your list down. You cannot miss anything. It's costs an hour and a half to get back there to get it. Like,
Oh
let's make
yeah.
sure Mama's got what she needs before she leaves the house.
Well,
Oh
and
my
just to
God.
drive for that too, people are like, "What do you mean you didn't go to da 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 da?" I was like, "No, I had a time frame. I had to be back to teach at 1." So like, and then I was messing around in the morning. I was like, "Dude, you need to get your because who knows traffic? They shut down bridges. Like it is a this is the only way. Well, there's another way up the mountain, but it's like a whole other way. Like it's like I'm not living in an accessible place. Like you're
No.
most of the time people take the day to go up there.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that. Like, I've never heard this story, so this is more for me. You guys can go about your day, but I'm going to keep her and ask her questions that I want to know answers to. You never shared, like, you're from Canada, right? How did you land in Costa Rica?
yeah, I woke up one morning in 2022 and God was like, "You're going to Costa Rica," and I was like, and this has happened to me before, so I'm kind of like I'm in the zone of it. I'm like, all right, when am I leaving? And this was probably like April, I feel, and God's like in the fall, and I was like, great, should I start selling stuff now? And I was like, yep. And literally by October 15th, 3 duffel bags later, I'd sold everything, and I was moving to a country I'd never been to before, and I didn't know anyone. So I literally didn't even come here first to check anything out. It was a complete hit, and I moved on a whim. Yeah, yeah.
You know, I
That's how
I
I got
have
here.
kids. Yeah, I have babies, so that's probably what's making the anxiety because I could do that. I could totally, but I have kids, so I don't think I can feel it the same way you did when you got the hit. But like, what? That's insane. That's insanely inspiring, let me tell you, when you get the hit and you go. But Costa Rica, I mean, what's transpired since you've been there? Like, what's life like since 2022?
Yeah, it's been a whole, when we talk about like up leveling and unearthing, I understand why I was meant to move here
Okay.
because it shattered all the illusions. Like, I was a good psychic before, okay? I was a good channeler before. When people came into my field, my light language was potent. At
Mm,
least that's what I thought. And then when I got here and I started activating, then people that were normally in my world couldn't actually stay grounded in the energy any longer. And they're like, Colleen, I get tapped out all the time now that I'm doing your meditations. I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, I keep floating out of my
mm,
body. I can't stay grounded. And I'm like, like I had just changed. So the
yeah,
up leveling of the people I was meant to serve and I was more working with like not really newbies because that's not true, but like people that didn't get all the things I get. And now the people in my world just like I can talk about whatever and they're just like they just get it. Like they just
yes.
like people I do past life work with, like I don't need to drop them through tunnels and take them through doors and all like literally before we even start, they're already dropping in. And it's like I was meant to come through a numerous layers here, but like dismantling of all the illusions, remembering what it's like to actually be a human and not do human. Like most of us in North America don't know what that means until you dismantle everything and then you get it. Deeper levels of shadow work, seeing through all the illusions. I've also been doing a lot of grid work here, not consciously, unconsciously in my energetic field. And I've been brought through different spaces and different lessons for the evolution of the land even that I live on. Like my connection to nature is just exponential.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when
I
you
knew that
can get,
about,
yeah,
yeah, I knew that about you, having such close access to the beach and having this new beautiful home that you manifested, being right there so you could see the water, let alone like go there and walk on a regular basis. You manifested that just for the dog. The dog has to have the beach, right? It's really for her. Really.
it's for all of
But
us.
it's for all of us. Yeah, they thank me later.
Yeah, it's for all
I
of
love
us.
it.
And like, yeah, I will never be able to move back to North America not changed. Like
Mm,
it's been, there's been a soft hit coming through that life is transitioning for me and that I will be going back to Canada next year, like later on in the year, unless the pivot of my man comes in and he's not there. And then that's a
mm.
whole other layer. But it's almost like I'm being pulled to the mountains now, back into winter, back into like fire energy, like real fire, like not like the heat of the sun fire, but like actual flames and having a wood burning fireplace. And that's initiation every night, like working with fire energy. And so we'll see. Like I'm not making anything up. I haven't got a full on hit. I don't have a timeline. I don't have anything. I'm just riding the wave.
Yeah, whiffing it right now, which is great. Yeah, I love the whiff because then it's like subtle, but it's not. We know, but we don't need to have everything. And don't go sell anything yet. Like keep the dog.
Oh no,
He ain't
she's
going nowhere.
coming.
He's
She's a
coming.
lifer. She's part of the warrior clan. She's definitely, and she'll be fine in the winter. Like she's part chow chow for sure. Like so she'll just go poof here and she'll just like she'll be fine.
Yeah, adapt. She's
Yeah,
adapting. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Girl, you know how much I adore you. I sincerely appreciate you popping on for part two. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think this is so beautiful for the end of the year. Knowing that our episode is going to be airing very, very soon, is there anything dropping in that you want to share with the collective listening with regards to inspiration around where they might find themselves, the end of the year cleanup that you would tell them they need to do, anything dropping in?
Yeah, what I just feel called to say to you is just get radically, radically truthful and responsible. And if you can look at where you're at in life and actually just own the fact that that's where you're at, now you can make decisions and decide to move out of it. It's in the moments of time where we're avoiding the work or we're literally pretending like it's not happening that we keep manifesting more of that. So if you can just sit with yourself and like take ownership of everything in this moment, it doesn't matter how dark it is, how depthful it is, how shady it is, how shameful it is, or anything. And when you actually look at it from that point of view and you do the work around that to hold it, you then can start to dismantle and move into all the areas that we've talked about today.
Mm.
But if you keep avoiding it, it's just going to get worse and worse. So,
Yeah, yeah. The universe is just going to continue to lovingly remind you. It doesn't feel
yeah,
as loving
lovingly, all
as
right.
the episode should, but that's the way that it goes. So, but thank you, thank you, thank you. I greatly appreciate you. All her information is in the show notes. Make sure that you go follow her in all the places. Take advantage of what you can within her work, because you're not going to regret it. I promise you. Can tune in next time where I'm going to be doing a review for this year as we get ready for 2026 and all of the potent power that it holds and that we can harness as we move through. So excited to see you again. Thank you again for joining. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again for listening. Make sure you give some feedback. Colleen will always, always, always be there, open for questions and feedback and all the things. I will see you again next week. Until then, see you later, Sovereign Soul.